So I recently made a short that talked about the new Fractured Friendship 2-pack, and I commented about the fact that Orion looked a bit too much like Optimus for my liking. But I understood why, because the context of the comics covered it. But it was definitely the kick that made me realise what I do and don't want in an Orion Pax figure, and this is exactly what I like to see. This is the IDW Humble Origins Orion Pax that shows him off when he was a data clerk. But quickly for reference, I will say that I don't own the Senator Shockwave, as this was from a 2-pack that I didn't buy. Orion was actually found on a solo listing, so if you're wondering why there is no version of Senator Shockwave in this video, it's because I don't own him. But getting back to Orion, this version of him is actually a retool of the Siege Hound mold, and I actually don't mind this because it's a good look for Orion, and Hasbro has to make their money somehow. But the overall look of him is actually fantastic. From head to toe, he's covered in great details and vibrant colours. From the side, he has very little in the way of gaps and kibble, but the little he does have doesn't take away from the overall look of him. His back also is pretty good for this, but he does have hollow legs. But I'm not displaying him from behind, so who cares? And I gotta say, I love this head mold. There's something so innocent about him, while also seeing who he will become. And in my opinion, it's the perfect mesh of Prime and Pax. He does come with 2 accessories, one being an axe and the other being a blaster. And these, like the figure, look great. The axe was made for Orion, and it definitely fits his look, because I wouldn't expect a data clerk to be fitted with weaponry, so the purely handheld look is lovely. The blaster is actually a carryover from Hound, but I'm not mad at it, as it does look like a smaller ion blaster in a lot of ways, and it does also have a drum magazine that can attach to the side. And the only way I can describe this is cute. It is a purely optional addition to his weapon that looks great regardless, and I bet the stop motion side of Transformers were freaking out over the potential of this option. Moving on to the articulation though, he has got most of what you would need, and is quite good considering it's a deluxe budget from 2018. He does have a reverse butterfly joint, but it is because of the transformation, so I don't really class it as one, and that's why I don't show it off in the video. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a knee swivel, which is a shame, but at least you can still get him in some nice poses. His head is also a little more restricted than I would like. It is on a ball joint, but you won't get much out of him outside of the regular 360, but there is a little bit there that can be used, just don't expect anything crazy. The last thing I want to say about when it comes to the robot mode is the scaling, because this figure was not made to scale like Orion should, and I do wish he was a little bit taller. This is because haha he's a deluxe, and obviously he won't scale with figures like Megatron properly because they are Voyagers, but the size we do have is a hair too short for my liking. Orion hits around the lower torso of Siege Megatron, which is a shame because in the ideal world he would hit around the shoulders, but there's no getting around this, and honestly I'm fine with how he matched up in the end. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. I would have shown him with the Siege or the Earthrise Optimus, but unfortunately I don't own that mold because I am waiting out for the Studio Series 86. But here he is with the War for Cybertron, the animated, and the Bayverse Optimus just for reference. But overall, I absolutely love this robot mode, and the praises won't stop here. The transformation itself is very simple, but also very fun to do. Because of how I got this version of Orion, I don't actually own the physical instructions for him, but I got the hang of it after one viewing of MGo's Transform It video on him. It is very satisfying to do because everything just tabs in nicely and without issue, and it creates this very good looking Jeep. And this is a great looking vehicle mode, I have to say. While you can see the hands from any angle that isn't head on, I still think it is a very clean look that I love. The Jeep itself is actually a very nice blend of a Cybertronian alt mode and an Earth-based vehicle, so you could very easily slot it into whichever display you'd like. I will say I also like how this mode is more of a blue than a red, and this is mostly down to the fact that the legs cover the sides and the back of the vehicle. It does make for a nice change of pace that still represents the color scheme of Orion very well. It does have plenty of weapon storage, which is mostly ugly like every other Transformers car that exists, but the gun can look like a nice looking turret, but it's definitely an acquired taste. I do think it actually scales quite well with the Siege Megatron tank. I feel like this would be the scaling of the two in motion, as Orion wouldn't have an opposing vehicle like Optimus would. But like the robot, I just love how this vehicle mode looks, and I will always love the look of it. To wrap this video up though, this is by far my favourite version of Orion Pax that you can buy. You can still get the 2-pack with Senator Shockwave, and I've seen him for relatively cheap. So if you want that figure as well, I would say buy it up. But if you are like me and you are only interested in the Orion Pax, keep an eye out for a listing on the aftermarket like I did, and hopefully you'll get lucky enough to find one. Personally, I would say the most it is worth is around £30, but I did get it for less than that, but I would never have gone above 30 if I never got this deal. But when it comes down to it, it's how much you're willing to spend on it, but that's probably around the margin I would give it. But you definitely wouldn't be disappointed by him, as I genuinely think the more I've owned him, the more I fell in love with this figure. But that about does it for Orion Pax, and thanks for watching, and let me know what you think of him and if you own him. Okay, bye!